Forget the handshakes. Forget the smiling photo ops. And seriously, stop paying attention to those meaningless 5-second clips of world leaders stepping off airplanes. Because something much bigger may be happening behind closed doors in Beijing right now. When Donald Trump landed in China, he didn't show up alone. And that's the part most media outlets completely missed. He arrived with some of the most powerful corporate figures on the planet. We're talking about the heads of massive American companies, people connected to trillions of dollars in technology, manufacturing, finance, artificial intelligence, and global supply chains. Now think about that for a second. Presidents usually travel with diplomats, intelligence officials, military advisors, and foreign policy experts. But this trip looked different. This looked less like diplomacy and more like leverage. And if reports and speculation surrounding these meetings are even partially true, then this may not simply be about trade. This could be about reshaping alliances, pressuring Iran, calming tensions with China, and rewriting the balance of power across multiple regions at the exact same time. That's why this story matters. Because while television networks are obsessing over body language and handshake analysis, the real conversation may be happening inside private rooms filled with CEOs, investors, intelligence discussions, and strategic deals that could impact the global economy for years. Now here's where things get even more interesting. China's economy has been facing serious pressure for quite some time.
Property markets have struggled. Consumer confidence has weakened. Youth unemployment has become a growing concern. And despite Beijing's efforts to project strength, many analysts believe China urgently needs foreign capital, investment confidence, and economic stabilization. And guess who controls massive portions of that influence? American corporations. That's why this delegation raised eyebrows globally. Because if top U.S. business leaders are suddenly being positioned alongside geopolitical negotiations, then this isn't just politics anymore. This becomes economic warfare mixed with strategic diplomacy. And according to several geopolitical observers, one issue may sit right at the center of all of this: Iran. Now let's be very careful here, because there's a lot of speculation floating around online. But the broader theory being discussed is that Washington wants Beijing to reduce its strategic support for Tehran, especially regarding energy cooperation, technology access, intelligence coordination, and regional influence. At the same time, China wants something too: reduced pressure, more economic flexibility, access to advanced technology, stability in trade, and maybe most importantly, less confrontation at a moment when its domestic economy needs breathing room.
So what happens when both sides need something from each other?
Negotiation. Not the kind you see on camera. The real kind. The kind that happens quietly between governments, corporations, financial institutions, and global power brokers. And honestly, that's what makes this entire situation so fascinating. Because this doesn't look like old-school diplomacy anymore. This looks transactional. Everybody at the table appears to be offering something. Everybody wants leverage. Everybody wants survival. And nobody wants to walk away empty-handed.
Now add Russia into the equation, and things become even more explosive. Because Moscow also maintains deep strategic ties with Iran. And if there are ongoing discussions involving China, the United States, and Russia at the same time, then the stakes become enormous. This is no longer just about tariffs or trade deals. This becomes a global chessboard. Energy, military positioning, technology dominance, artificial intelligence, semiconductors, oil routes, Taiwan, Ukraine, Iran. Every major flashpoint suddenly connects together. And that's why many analysts believe these meetings in Beijing may be far more important than they initially appear. But here's the question nobody seems willing to ask publicly. Why would corporate CEOs be placed at the center of geopolitical pressure?
Because in today's world, billion-dollar corporations aren't just businesses anymore.
They are strategic weapons. Supply chains are weapons. Technology is leverage. Investment is leverage. Semiconductor access is leverage. And whoever controls those things controls influence. If China receives economic breathing room while Washington receives strategic concessions regarding Iran, then both governments walk away claiming victory. Trump can return home saying he pressured China. Beijing can tell its population that it stabilized relations with the United States.
And meanwhile, global corporations continue expanding influence across both economies.
That's the game. Not ideology, not friendship. Interests. Cold, calculated interests.
If China receives economic breathing room while Washington receives strategic conversation regarding Iran, then both governments walk away claiming victory. Trump can return home saying he pressured China. Beijing can tell its population that it stabilized relations with the United States. And meanwhile, global corporations continue expanding influence across both economies. That's the game, not ideology, not friendship. Interests, cold, calculated interests. And honestly, this is exactly why global politics feel more unpredictable than ever before. Because the people shaping the future of the world may not just be presidents anymore. It could be CEOs, tech giants, financial institutions, energy networks, private influence operating behind closed doors while the public watches headlines about handshakes and photo sessions. Even if half of these geopolitical calculations are true, then the next few months could completely reshape global alliances. But I want to hear your opinion. Do you think these meetings are about peace and stability? Or is this just another massive power deal disguised as diplomacy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Because trust me, the story is far from over.